Give out that argonite essence. Well, guten morning. Guten morning. My name is Eight Wind is Timeless. Welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am the holder of the Infinite Ball Game that was created by the Hero Twins and played around the world. I'm also your galactic daddy-o, sitting on my galactic patio, welcoming each and every one of you from Minnesota to the universe. Tonight we are drinking on Alaskan Amber Ale, so pop them if you got them, smoke them if you want them. I'm gonna drink this one slow just because I just got done drinking one. And of course, we're dealing with the Hamilton device. And we want to give a special sponsor thank you to Drakkar for the man who has nothing. What's happening, Unique Breed? Oh, the one Aggie Pride. What is happening? It's been a lot of great Aggie news. Aggie's gonna play Georgia. What did they say? 2030. So that is great news for A&T. The program is in Division One now. Hey, Crazy Sarge, thank you for joining me. Stephen Buckner, thank you. Yeah, Strong Discernment, thank you for joining me. I'm feeling okay. Walked about 3 miles today. Um, Yesterday was a little tough for me, and I mean Thursday. Um, After doing the show, I don't know if you go back and watch the last show I did Wednesday morning or Thursday morning. Yeah, you can see I was kind of doing this, struggling with my neck, and so I got done with the show, and I get some pains up in here, like up in here. It gets to bothering me, and so I struggled through it all through the night, and earlier that day I was feeling this in stuff here, but I walked about 2 miles yesterday, but in the morning still persisted. And when I woke up, my whole like I couldn't even turn my neck like this. Even now, I'm still struggling. But this whole like was inflamed, but not only was it inflamed, it was just like tight and a lot of pressure. And so I spent yesterday about 6 hours in the hospital. One thing, hospital does give you good drugs, but they did an EKG and my heart and everything is fine. I never like lost consciousness, never had shortness of breath or anything like that, and so I'm still got to go through a stress test. So that's they gave me, so that's why I wasn't on yesterday. Hey PJ, what's happening? So that's why I didn't come on yesterday. And even if you listen to me talk Thursday morning, you can hear it in my voice. I'm just a little weaker, but I feel better today. Um, I'll tell you one thing that going through this though that I've learned, and on the spiritual side of things is I feel that in a lot of ways, like I always tell my daughter, because my daughter's mother lost her parents at a very young age. Well, she lost her mother at a very young age. She lost her father in her 20s, and she's kind of given a little bit of that to my daughter, where my daughter really, how can I say this? Like my daughter had some visions, and the visions worry her. But what I always tell her is just because you have magic and you have foresight, you can't make the foresight make you be fearful or make you stop living. And so I always tell her that because I'm 50 years older than her. If you understand that, when she graduates from high school in 29, I think, yeah, 29, I'll be going on 69. if you understand. And so, and what I try to tell her is that the time we spend together should be enough. But what I see is that I haven't taught my family fully that understanding. So I feel in some ways I have failed them. I have failed them in the thing that I haven't conveyed that I don't need to be here physically for them to still think about me and still understand that, I was in a great part of their lives. I mean, some of my oldest son is about to turn 33, I think, 89. Yeah, I think it's 30, about to be 33. And so my 26-year-old son, he works and he does a lot of his thing. And I could tell he was quite worried. And I just think I failed that part where they have to understand that, like when I do the divinations of the Mayans, the death card comes up twice. And so it's a normal thing. Again, as I say, the minute you're born is when you start to pass. But I feel better. I mean, I still can hear my voice. I'm a little weak, but I overall feel better. And so I definitely did want to come on because the full moon is going to be the 23rd. It comes in at 8. The energies come in at 8 in the morning. So I might go on Sunday just to kind of get some of that energy. So we're within the energy now, being Saturday morning. The moon energy comes in 3 days before and 3 days after. So we're in the middle of that. So it's a good time for anybody who wants to manifest. Please manifest. Whatever you're working on this term, please manifest it in. Oh, and if weather provides, I am going to the powwow, tomorrow um, at the reservation, or the res as they call it. They are having. So I'm gonna probably pack up my big sound bowl, get a blanket, and just be a participant over there because they are Sioux people. Um, I believe they're Lakotas, and I think the Sioux that I am is Dakota. I'd have to talk to my brother again to remember. Hey, Marco, what's happening? And it says now's the time they start to listen to the wisdom more so. Yeah, definitely. And it's and my thing was it's like I as I said before, I really went into the void last week. I think I'm pretty sure I had a slight seizure. It just was for seconds, but I fully shut down, and doctors they didn't even know what to say about that. But I felt myself fully shut down. I went into the totally. I was in the void, totally. And it's not that I fear that because that's natural. I mean, I am 60, but the hurt that they feel, that is something that shows me that I haven't done my full thing spiritually. So, hey, James Gant. Oh, thank you. They don't use this M hat, and my last name is Macon, so I love any kind of M hats, and they don't really use this. And these hats are kind of they don't release a whole bunch of them, and so I shout out to Lids. Lids cooks me up. I could almost say Lids is a sponsor because they were trying to get me to buy this other hat. They're going to give it to me free. I guess it's a group called Barstool. I didn't know nothing about Barstool, but the hats look dope. They had Barstool across the front. So PJ, do you know about Barstool? I didn't know anything about it. They was telling me about it. So, well, thank you, James. And the Twins got crushed by the Yankees for the second day in a row. They got beat, I think it was 6-0 or 8-0. Twins are not going into the playoffs. They've got rid of two of their best players. Their best pitcher, they definitely got rid of Barrows. They got rid of him. I think their best player, their center fielder, I think they hurt him on purpose. They threw at his hands, and he was having a great season. Their center fielder, and he was just getting off an injury, and then they hit him in the hand and broke his hand. And he's right now in contract negotiations. I think they offered him like $180 some million. Buxton is his name. He's been hurt almost the whole year. And so I think they hurt him on purpose. Hey, Sean, what's happening? You talking about the website? Maybe. No, they said that they had Barstool has a podcast. That's what I was told. It was like the hat was I could have got the hat for it was a snap hat. I'm not crazy about snap hats, but I do have a few. Uh but they said it was a podcast, some type of sports podcast. So I don't know. I don't know, PJ. I'm not really hip, but the hats look dope. They was kind of nice, but and then I've been designing shirts, and I finally go in there to want to get some shirts done, and the dude I was dealing with quit. So I because they have two stores. We have an outlet, and they have two stores at the outlet. They have a store that sells jerseys, and they have a store that just sells hats. So I talked to one young man. He said he's being trained on how to do the embroidery. So you ever fitted with an Indian on one night? Was it a Black Hawk? I do have a fitted Black Hawks hat, but I also got an old vintage um, um, Cleveland Indians. I got a couple Cleveland Indians, but yeah, I got a couple Black Hawk hats too. Isn't that funny though? They like the Black Hawks, but everything else they don't like. Like I don't understand why South Dakota State had to change from the Fighting Sioux. Like how is that offensive? How does that offend anybody? I don't get that. Barstool interview players and ex-players. There you go, James. Thank you. So that's what they told me. They have a type of podcast. And so like in like especially the Redskins, like why does that offensive anybody? Now who owned their team for years and was the last one to put brothers on their team, Marshall, yeah, he was offensive, and I'm glad they took his name off of any of that shit. But just to say the Redskins is offensive, that ain't offensive to us. I mean, you got this picture of a melanated person on the hat. And we know that when you go to these reservations, you don't see a lot of melanated looking people anymore. And this one around me, young man that is a great friend, and I've told the story before. A young man, there was a young man that lived with me for a couple of months. His dad just moved out the apartment, moved in with his girlfriend, just left his boy. He was about 16 at the time. And he befriended, one of his best friends was a guy who works from the res. And the guy took him under his wing. And I mean, they're about the same age. They went to games 5 in Phoenix. And he pays for, this is the second year that he's paid this young man's full money. The young man had a older car, again, they live up in Duluth, they're about 3 hours away. And his car broke down. So his friend is flying him down here Monday and buying him a new Q5 or Q8 Audi. The dude from the res drives a 19 Navigator, and he makes about 80 grand a month. About 80 grand a month. This 19, well, he's probably 18, 19, maybe 20. So, hey, Jesse Lynn Wellness to you. Thank you. Thank you so much. $5 Indians, there you go. Florida Seminoles, right. Now they're saying doing the chopping, but I mean, like Kalamazoo, Michigan, you can look this up. I don't know if they've tore this down, but I grew up where it shows, because it talks about the Trail of Tears and moving the Potawatomi out of Southwest Michigan. And it had a picture of a settler hitting with a club an Indian. And this thing is like where they hung the for years. This is where they hung Santa and his reindeer. But it is literally hitting an Indian over the head with a club. And this thing has been up since the 30s or 40s. So I don't know if they removed that. You can look up Indian getting clubbed in the head in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I guess what it would be under. I'm not sure. But yeah, so I got a few hats. So I love the Blackhawks. To me, out of all the teams, the Blackhawks is the smoothest. I mean, I really feel that. And let me tell you some retarded shit I saw today. So right now here in Minnesota, you don't have to wear masks. We don't. It's not mandated. We are in a democratic state, but it's not mandated. And so, but people again are wearing them around here, which is so funny. But I watched this one chick. This one chick took off her mask to smoke a cigarette. And I'm like, if that ever ain't some ass backward shit. She pulled the mask down and was walking around smoking a cigarette. And this is the other thing that is interesting. Hey, Dobie, what's happening? Thank you for joining. The amount of people that I see smoking are older people. I mean, it amazes me how many, like my neighbor across from me and his sister, they're both in their 60s. She's about 65 and she still smokes cigarettes. But yeah, I saw this chick, like, she had her mask around her thing. I watched her pull it down. She fired a square up. You know, square is what we used to call cigarettes. I want to correct something. I did make a mistake. I didn't make a mistake, but I didn't explain it right. So I'm going to explain it a little easier. Um, as I was saying, time really ain't just this. Time ain't a string that just goes across like this. That's what they want you to think. It ain't like that. It ain't just, this is the end and this is the beginning, because it'll confuse you if you try to fuck with it. But I want to get a little more clear. So I brought my other Verja. Yeah, with that big piece of motivite on it. This thing took me years to activate this, but this thing is strong once it got activated. Now, when you see this symbol, especially in South America, it's to be like this. It's looked at like this. Again, this is the A side Verja compared to this is this shows what? No, this is the 12-sided, right? 12-sided Verja, which this means motion. Time moves more like this because this is also a symbol for time, but this means motion. And so time would move more like this than, as I was showing, I was kind of showing this. It moves more like this. And so your timelines can be any kind of way, this way. It can be this way. So I wanted to make that clear. Hey, James, what's happening? And so this is what you have to really consider as you move through time, and your understanding of how time is manipulated is that time is not just a straight line, because that's string theory basically. Time can be looked at as you can move from point A to point B. That could be moving in the future, or you can move here to the past. I mean, it's a continuous kind of thing. It's not static. And so when you put it in string theory, it's static, like it just like this, and it's not just like that. So I did want to make that clear. Those of you that kind of want to mess and control your time. Oh, and there's a show on A&E, and gosh, I forgot to write it, but it's funny how they try to steal things, and how now there's a show on A&E about witches, and these witches call themselves time walkers. Now, I've been talking about the time walkers. YouTube, I started broadcasting in 2016, but I've been talking about it on Facebook since 10. I've been on Facebook since 10. So I've been talking, well, I got the information in 13. So I've been talking about it. So guys, if you want to look that up, it's AME. It comes on Sundays. There's something about the witches. They showed part 8 and part 9. So, but I was funny when they were like, well, you've broken the rules of the time walkers. And I'm like, look at this shit. Somebody heard me talk about this shit. Now they wrote some whole TV series about this shit. So I'm flattered. So, and we're getting, some much needed rain. It didn't rain a lot, but it's been hot as hell. Again, let me see how many miles I walked today if I can find it. And I sweated good. I got a good sweat. Here we go. Wellness and fitness. Yeah, I got in about 3 miles today. About 8,000 steps. Flights climbed, only 2%. I was walking at 3 miles an hour. But I changed my pattern. They got walking asymmetry. So it's kind of funny. So yeah, I've been getting some good walking in last couple of days, even when I really didn't feel bad. Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, Thursday I got about 2 miles in. So I'm gonna keep that up. doesn't like even sitting here. I'm kind of feeling it, so I don't know how long I'll be able to go. Hey, Greg, what's happening? Um, I'll tell you, tonight watching Brother Bomber. Brother Bomber put out some good information. Oh, let me show you this shit in case some people you see this shit and be like, this motherfucker was shooting up some heroin or some shit. No, this was what's called an IV. So I don't want anybody to say this motherfucker's shooting up heroin in a sloppy, couldn't get it in. No, that was some IV shit. So it's like I still had them goddamn probes from the EKG on me. I'm like, God damn, this thing didn't come off. So next week is football. There it is. It is. College must start next week. I was sitting there. Oh, I was telling about the young lady that got disqualified from the Olympics and then got a big bag. She's running against the Jamaican girls either this morning or tomorrow. I'm not sure. I didn't catch the time. So again, this chick, they get paid. They get paid to run. So she got a fee for going there. She'll get another fee for winning. So that chick didn't miss nothing. I told you, the Olympics was a week or two ago. This chick is already back on the world stage. So I was watching the fucking steeplechase. I don't know what the steeplechase is about, why they've got two hurdles and one hurdle's got water. That doesn't make sense. I imagine it's in the war, and in the war, if you had to jump over fences and shit, and then if you had to jump over a little pond, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I know I'm going all around. Check this out. The drought is so bad of the Mississippi River. Again, we have a lot of, like, I live near what's called the Minnesota River. And the beautiful thing about the Minnesota River is where these motherfuckers fought. They fought down here. Like right on this river was a lot of these fights between the Dakota Lakota tribe fighting the settlers, which were mostly Swedes, some Dutch, but they actually fought them in these areas around where I live. And so it's interesting. But what's interesting is how much water this has lost. The banks are like closing in. There's been so many people that have boat trouble because the boats are bottoming out. As I said the other night, the trees are starting to drop leaves because they're not getting the water. My daughter always gets me because there's about 60 to 100 acres that I drive by, and this always has water. It is bone dry. The ducks is like walking on the shit like, well, damn, this is where the water used to be. So, and let me tell you, I saw some humanism today too, because I always want to speak when I see humanism. So here, now let me even go back. So years ago, back in the 90s, I worked in an area, and again, in the spring, summer, you see the Canadian geese. They come back here to have their babies. And somebody just piled, because sometimes they have 8 to 10 babies and they're just following. And somebody, I had to call the police on this car that followed, that just wiped out about 7 or 8 of them. He just drove through all of them. And it reminded me that. And then today, as I was going out to the outlet, there were about 15 that walked across the street and the car stopped. And that's what I mean, loving and respecting nature. Plus, it's the law. You run over and people tell them you can go to jail for that shit. But it was a beautiful thing to see. And that's something that's just like I told the story again about the buses. I never feel bad about stopping behind a bus. And so I feel bad about that either. And so it was a beautiful thing to see. I have 2 locks for Fresno State minus 27 versus UConn. Take Fresno State, and UTEP minus 9 versus New Mexico. UTEP 9. Okay, I might. So if that isn't a lock, do we get to whoop your ass? Okay. I was wondering. I saw somebody titled that, Ryan, and I didn't know that was going to be his last album. What, he only made 3 albums, didn't he? Thank you, James. What did they not run over? Oh, they ran over Canadian geese. Yeah, they ran over Canadian geese, and so that's what we had to wait for today. What do I think about that, brother? I mean, I don't really have any thoughts on it. They like, nobody was talking about him. What you got to think of is nobody was talking about him. And all publicity is good publicity. Now everybody talking about him. Do you kind of see? So it doesn't seem organic. It doesn't seem organic. It seems like a move to put him back in the limelight, because I can't say the last time I saw anything about him. And so it just all seems too unorganic. That's what I think. Did you see a story about the cops that killed some porcupines or something crazy like that? Those cats lost their jobs and are going to be prosecuted. No deliberation, no debate. Yeah, yeah. Up here, if you run into them, um, you can get arrested for that if people say it. Now I've played when I was a cop. We used to have a place that had a groundhog. No, was it groundhogs? No, what's a there? Let me see. What are they called? I can't think of, but there's like a little groundhog little thing, but that's not what they are. The name will come to me in a minute. But when you shine lights over their holes, they pop up, and I would shoot over their heads. It was just funny. I just kind of immature, but it's like I'd shine the lights and I'd see them heads pop up, and I'd start shooting at them. Never hit one. I never hit one. I always shot too high, and the bullets would go back into the lake. But just kind of funny fucking with them, which was mean. Them some hell of allegations though. They are, but again, Kobe had the same allegations other than, being a young girl. And then how do they like what person knows you had sex with three dudes and you kept the panties? What person does that? And she got paid. So it is a lot of allegations, but again, people are talking about it. And far as I know, this dude was dead. I mean, I don't know what he was doing. Like, remember he tried to say he was doing some construction on a school, and the person came out and said he ain't got nothing to do with this shit. So, Gray, a nutria? What's that? I don't know that word. You have to give me a little more perspective on what that word means, Gray. A nutria? I'm not sure what that word means. So I just think, because the whole story just makes no sense. Because they said that he asked the mother to take her to a party. Now, if I had my daughter, and I was if I was living with a woman and she had a daughter that wasn't my daughter, and then I say, well, I'm gonna take your daughter to a party. Now, if it's me dropping her off at a party, it's okay, but not she's going to the party with me. That don't sound organic. That don't sound. Oh, water rat on. No, it was they got the little bear looking heads. It'll come to me in a minute. But they got little bear not prairie dogs. I can't think, but they got the little bear little heads. Their heads are more shaped like bears. Well, like they got like a teddy bear doll more. It'll come to me. But if you shine lights over their holes, they'll come to look to see what the light is. It's called a swamp rat. No, it wasn't a swamp rat. They're something else. It's not groundhogs, not prairie dogs. It'll come to me though. But yeah, a water rat on steroids. It's bigger. This little thing is about this big. I know looking at it, but it's about a foot bigger. So, oh shoot! Now didn't take I'll tell you, the outlet has everything. I meant to bring my scrapbook because to me, the cleanest looking Converse ever was the one. If you look at David Thompson back at North Carolina State, he wore them, but it had just it was a leather shoe just with the plain star. That was really, I liked that. That was a clean look. But when I was in 5th grade, I wore a pair that was like what the older pair they came back on. They was a leather shoe, red, white, and blue, and they had like it was a star between two checks. Well, mine was a suede. They call suede nubuck now, but it was like the two checks with a suede with the white in the middle. They had the suede. They had the all gray suede ones, and the Converse store also had the all gold ones. Very similar. The reason I didn't really like them is because they had the star. The star was gold color like the shoe, and it kind of just an all gold looking shoe. Plus, ain't a lot of padding in Converse. So it was just cool, but just cool checking out the fashions. And then they got these dumb motherfuckers, the Nike outlet store. It's 90 degrees, and these motherfuckers standing in line to go into the Nike store. I wasn't that pressed that much to get. All the thing I got was this hat. That was all I got. I really went there to see if I can get these shirts stitched up. That's why I really went there. but the guy that he's training on how to do it. So I'm looking to get some work done, make some shirts, make some hoodies like that. And so remember the Bernard King cons? Yeah, well, those was with the checks. But David Thompson's to me was cleaner with just a single check on a black shoe. I've told this story before. My uncle lives where I was born is called DeWaljack, Michigan, which is still roughly, I would say DeWaljack is about 2 hours from Gary, about 2 hours and 10 minutes to go into Chicago. So about 2 hours from Gary. But Benton Harbor is from DeWaljack about 20 minutes. And again, Benton Harbor is close to Gary. And my uncle had a pair, so I was the first one in Kalamazoo. I was playing was called YBL. It was a youth league, and I wore them, and I wore my uncle's. And I think back then he wore about a 12, and I think at the time I wore 11 and a half. But I was able to hoop with them. My thoughts on Iran. My thoughts on Iran. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what. Like this is the one thing about Iran is Iran still do business with Britain. Britain originally was over Iran. That when the Shah worked with them and stuff, they try to say America, CIA, but it was really a British colony almost. Again, Saudi Arabia claimed all that shit. They thought after World War I they was gonna get it all. So they're covered bases. Like look at the bases that all the bases circle Iran. So they would never go to anything. Humiliation ritual. Yeah, Marco, for sure. Definitely humiliation ritual. Yep. But yeah, I remember the Bernard King. It was like I wore them as well. We called them the Dr. J's. We wore the. I took back my Pro Kid leathers, which I shouldn't have. Much lighter shoes, and because this is the horrible thing about the cons that Magic wore and Isaiah wore, Larry Bird wore, and even the Bernard King because he had like the orange and blue with the white ones, but they still didn't have any sponge in them. All they did is took that same sole from the canvas Chuck Taylors, so it hurt my legs. It hurt my legs wearing them. I should have kept the other shoes. That's all about the outlets around the country. It's ridiculous. Oh yeah. Oh, thank you, Caesar. So that was the only. Well, let me think. There was one other store, but it wasn't as packed. But it was like 20 people standing in 90-degree weather, some fucking Nikes. It's like I stay about 25 minutes from it. Actually, I found a quicker way to get there. So, but I had something else to do, so I went kind of another way. But I'll go early one morning. But damn, if I'm gonna stand and wait for Nike, So, but I got a hell of a lot of walking in. And one chick was walking around with heels like this. Like, how do you do it? How do young women walk around with them big heels like this? And you could tell that she was kind of probably doing a little work out there. She just had that look like she was looking for someone compared to like she was supposed to meet somebody because she was smoking a square. She seemed, I picked up a nervous energy from her. So she was meeting somebody out there. And the way she was dressed and stuff, not judging. That's your thing, whatever your thing is. The Taliban went to Iran so long because the CIA said they couldn't quit. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the CIA backed the Taliban. Clinton gave the Taliban $42 million. He gave them warlords $42 million to not sell the heroin. So you ain't get the Kawhi orthopedics, New Balance. No, I haven't. Gosh, I haven't even. I'd have to go out to the Mall of America. Yeah, they don't have a New Balance outlet out there. I'm mad that Wilson Leathers left. I'm kind of really mad because Wilson Leathers was the hookup, but they left. So no, I didn't get none of them. I think my one of my sons got a pair, but no, I didn't get a pair of them. So, but it's interesting watching. It's Coach out there. It's Saks. It's the Saks out there that sell, all that Saks shit. Even though it's outlet, Saks ain't much cheaper. That shit's still kind of expensive. So yeah, I'll go check out the Kawhis at the Mall of America. They sell them out there. But yeah, the Taliban was paid. They was trained by the CIA. ISIS was once. See, that's why Obama used to always say ISIL. He never would say ISIS because they trained them. They trained them to kill some of the relics too. That was all CIA backed. So even this thing, I don't know. It's just funny. You watch my Facebook, I'm getting on Sister Girl and Slow Joe because that shit's funny. Poppy Bush, yeah, Poppy Bush put him over there, or the Dubba, the one they call Dubba, he put him over there, because again, they only went over there to control the heroin market. That's all that was about. That was about controlling the heroin market, and that's the whole thing. I mean, almost like what Vietnam was. Vietnam was very similar. Control rubber, control the heroin market, and that's why heroin is damn near Gerardo CNN. Yeah, yeah. Every evil organization, militia, was trained and backed by the best. That the U.S. is sick as hell, and like the problem with like the guns and stuff, the cannons. But again, a lot of that stuff they ain't gonna be able to repair. They ain't gonna have to specialize people to repair some of that stuff. So hey, CWE, thank you, Marco. If I didn't say thank you for coming in. But that's the difference. They can't repair a lot of that stuff. So a lot of that stuff they left it because they know they can't repair it. Now, could they reverse engineer pay it? Possibly. Now, some reports say China is already on their border with equipment ready to move in or has moved into their border side of Afghanistan. So if that's true. Fentanyl. Well, fentanyl is a type what they cut is a cutting agent. A lot of people are getting sold that, but like we said before, showing the people just sniffing fentanyl, no, that ain't gonna make you pass out. That's all fake. That's all fake. You can't put fentanyl like it's fairy dust. Somebody said that the other day, like fentanyl is fairy dust, and the fairy dust is just gonna knock everybody out. It don't work that way. It does not work that way. Let me see if I can find this. I did want to share this. Let's see. Let me see. Oh, it's here. Okay. But they hell on women over there. But these Americans, if they could do women like that, they would. They would be bullish. Oh, that breeze feels good. This, yeah, I want to read this. Oh, here we go. And they might knock me out for this, but I don't know. It's worth reading. How does the drip affect the brain? A troubling picture emerges. Research finds that people who only suffered mild infection can be plagued with life-altering, sometimes debilitating cognitive deficits. The early days of it, New York was a healthy 30-year-old freelance, whatever. But unlike many people who come down with it, his first sign of infection wasn't a dry cough or fever. His symptom was that she couldn't read a text message from a friend. She thought she was tired. She felt that the fuzziness would go away after a night's sleep. More neurological issues followed. She developed a sudden and severe headache. Her attention span suffered. She couldn't watch TV or even play video games. She had trouble concentrating on everyday tasks like cooking. She'd leave a pot on the stove and forget about it until she smelled food burning. I do that now, and I ain't had that shit. She failed to look both ways while crossing the street, narrowly missing traffic. She didn't have any issues until the drip got her. She's a large portion of people that had this, possibly high as 30%, who suffer some type of neurological or psychotic symptoms. Even more troubling that for many of these individuals, like Davis, these cognitive issues can linger for weeks or months after coming down. Dozens of hospitals and healthcare systems opened post clinics to help patients who have been admitted to intensive care when the thing was severe. But as it has dragged on, clinics are filled with people who never hospitalized but suffering lingering symptoms, including brain fog and other cognitive issues. That is zombies. That is zombies. So a lot of people trying to say that the plunge is the zombies. It appears like just getting it could give you the zombies. The expectation was all these people were going to have a really long protracted recovery. The big surprise was people who never required hospitalization. So these people never went in. Co-leader of the study, patients recover faster than others to learn the biological reasons why they can't get well even after months. What's less clear is how many people eventually recover, how many will be left with devastating long-term effects, more like a zombie. After a year and a half later, Davis can only work a few hours a day because of lingering brain fog, short-term memory loss, and other cognitive issues. She's seen dozens of medical specialists and been diagnosed with post-dynostotomia, a nervous system disorder that causes dizziness, rapid heartbeat, and fast breathing when rising or sitting down. It's sometimes treated. They got the drug, they'll give it to it. And so they're trying to understand it's making people almost like Alzheimer's, dementia. That it's a mild form of dementia. So I wanted to share that part. According to the rebels in South America, Papa Doc, according to Zach Kim, what? Let me bring that back. King Jung's controlled opposition. I don't know if that is tough. All the rebels in South America, Papa Doc, according to Zach, Kim Jong is controlled opposition. He could be. Them peoples run China. Like people forget that Russia is run by them peoples. Them peoples, that's their country too. It's not just Israel. Them peoples run Russia. They've been ran Russia. Again, I've said all the top names. Trotsky, Stalin, Lenin is all them peoples. So could be, but he ain't the man in charge. The plunge is a joke. George Carlin, freedom fighters. There you go. So what's happening? Yeah, spiritual. By the way, spiritual. World War III is a spiritual war. Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely is. What if a job forces you to? Yeah, because they're now trying to say that, churches. That's why I say if you want to use the church exemption, you got to be fucking with the church. So, or drop some cash. I mean, either way. Because some people understand that. Be like, well, I don't go to church a lot, but, I've supported in the past. And like, here's a gift. Can I get that exemption? So look into that. Right. The ACLU is fighting that too. They starting to throw the papers in court. Eternal work, our only hope. Yeah. They found 21 new cases here in okay. Oh, all right. You guys still locked down? They see what happened with space hologram. And this alien stuff is coming. I mean, it's coming. They gonna bring it out, and it's probably gonna be the ones to save. That's what I'm guessing is how they gonna pull it out. But that's like that TV show. What was that TV show? Somebody wrote it months ago where they wanted all the melanated people. It was like they gave the melanated people up like slavery. That's kind of like it was. It was like it was a revisit of slavery. You can take the melanated people wherever you want to take it. So yeah, they're definitely still. You guys are still in lockdown. They say 21 new cases. That's still what is the population of New Zealand? 21 cases, and what was it? The first case they locked somebody down. So. But it's interesting, the amount of people that mask up already. You ain't got to wear a mask. And already the conditioning, they conditioned. And that's a tough thing to watch all these people conditioned already. But what can we do? God looks like you. There you go. And so it's, people are just so afraid and fear pushing. Riding with them in the cars, having it on children. Again, the lines, which is a communist thing. Again, I'm old enough to remember that's why they would talk shit about USSR, they would show them lines for healthcare, which they say Canada does too, because Canada has an excellent healthcare system, which is run by the Brits. Canada's part of the Britons. So they didn't break away. Conditioning lost souls. Yeah, melanated people, and it's definitely a type of war. Damn, almost got dried out. But yes, it's definitely a type of war, spiritual war. They trying to make it a physical war, going after you physically. So, hmm, hair of wool. Even that was made up, though. I mean, they had to make something up. They had to make that up to make it make sense because that ain't what we see with the Borgia. Like I was looking at some country in the Alps where they were saying it's to the it's something. If the Germans didn't attack, one of the bishops said if the Germans didn't attack, he would make a church to Mary. And so, of course, they got Mary all in murals. They got one side that tells the history of Christianity, one side tells the German history and Mary. And it's like, again, it doesn't look like a person born from the Middle East. It looks like a European, and so that's what they pull off of, though, because that's what's created. So that's why it's, for them, the Borgia works. But again, the evilness of like when people wear the cross, and when they wear the cross with the slaughtered man, I mean that's necromancy. So why would you want that energy around you? Why would you wear a cross with a motherfucker being tortured? That's negative. That's negative energy, negative magic. So we're in a few millions all over. We're in a few millions all over New Zealand. Agree. We go outside and everyone wearing that shit in the car, biking and running. Yeah, like it just makes no sense. Yeah, it is crazy. So need to chat up. Hey, Marcus, chat up. Hare Krishna and elevate your wake up. Open your eyes to all three of them. There you go. They shut down playgrounds here in Melbourne. Oh wow, surrounded by crash dummies and empty minds. Pretty much. We in the yoga age, the Kali yoga age. Well, Kali is the storm. Krishna is from India. Yeah, Kali is the storm. She is the storm. Just as what's his name is also the creator and the destroyer. Shiva. Shiva is the creator and the destroyer. And remember, when Shiva gets killed, Kali goes off. You know, Shiva goes back to Brahma, and Kali goes off, and she fucks everybody up. Never understood that. If he got up from death, they keep putting him back on the cross. Exactly, Jesse Lynn. I've said this before. Like it was a little thing. I almost bought it because it was sweet looking, but it was like a Jesus piece, the Borgia piece on gold, but the pants was made out of diamonds. It looked like the crowns around the head was diamonds, and then the draws was diamonds. But it was still him, Again, 7 Day of Venice, and the ones they show like this on just a spike. The Laughing Jesus, when it talks about it, it talks about just on a spike, not because the cross is just cardinal directions. You know, it's just cardinal directions, and it's really see when the Spanish came in showing this, they was like, no, it's like this. It ain't this. It's like this. They understood the symbol, but the symbol to them was like this and not like that. It was like this, the motion. So, okay, I've been going for a minute. Yeah, it sounds bad. So, we'll just do the best you can do. Uh, yep, yeah. See, we are the temple. I've seen a lady that was all books and was sent to psychic ward. Now she isn't. She isn't book and her eyes are open. Wow, there was all book and was sent to a psychic ward, and now she isn't book in her eyes. Wow, interesting. Definitely crazy, my G. Everyone has become fear based, even too scared to say hi. Exactly. Based in Melbourne, bro. It's crazy out here. People posting Instagram stories of the plunge. It's like it's an award. Yeah, that's what they was doing here. Most states have. If you're a state employee, if you are a federal employee, they trying to make you do it. You work in a rest home, they making you do it. So I think there's going to be a pushback. I really do, because it's like if something is good for the people would naturally organically do it. But because people don't trust, we don't trust. It ain't gonna be. It ain't gonna be organic. People ain't gonna want it. I post that picture up every week on Facebook of the Tuskegee Institute. The Tuskegee story. That ain't going away. Oops. Here we go. I'm going to keep posting that every week. Shooting syphilis in him. This went on from the 40s to the 70s. Now, when they say the science, this was based on science. They wanted to see how it could save their people. And this is really something we should, like what Fred Hampton was about was right here. It's classism. It's not racism, it's classism. This is what this country's about. Classism is how they break us apart, through classism. In the Nuremberg Code, voluntary consent. The voluntary consent is well-informed understanding consent of the human subject in a full legal capacity is required. Scientific studies, experiments should aim at positive results for society and be necessary. Experiments, prior knowledge. Experiments should be justified based on previous knowledge. Experiments should be set up in a way that avoids unnecessary physical and mental suffering of injuries. Experiments should not be conducted where there is a reason to believe a risk or death or serious injuries. Another protection. Risk of experiments should never exceed human benefit. Preparation facilities must be adequately protected the subject against experiments risks. Qualified research. Researchers must be fully trained and scientifically qualified. Participants must be free to immediately quit at any time for any reason. Termination of the studies. To effectively brainwash and mind control population, you first need fear. You then need a ritual or ceremony which relives the fear. The ritual must be simple so anyone can do it. You must make average people feel like heroes for doing exactly as they're told. The tyrant is best served by being in full control of the fear plus manufacturing a ritual that removes the fear. That pre-manufactured ritual will in turn trick the public into participating in their own enslavement. That's what I'm saying. These people ain't even told to put them on, and they wearing them again. And brings them willingly into the iron grip of tyranny. I don't know, y'all. I love this picture. I say this is Sister Girl. They ain't had Sister Girl talking yet. Sister Girl is hiding out. They had her standing next to him. She ain't said shit. And whoever did that interview and showed her that she's in the room out of all decisions, she ain't said shit because I don't think she wants this heat. The next full step is social credit system. Yeah, like China was doing. Man, that's what the actual fuck. This shit is crazy. Both our countries, they want full control real fast. Stories of plunge are participation. Yep. Lieutenant Governor Texas said the reason why the numbers are high there is because of black folks. That's shaming. They're trying to shame because they said almost 70% of melanated people have not taken it. That's a problem for them. 70%. Like I said, you give me 10 racks, you got me. 10 racks, okay. But this $100 giving me passes to go on rides at the Mall of America. We live near another amusement park called Valley Fair. I mean, it's like, who's stupid enough? Like, give me my 100. Come on. Monsanto chemtrails. Oh, you saw that too, Jay? Hey, Jay, what's happening? Yeah, it is like a movie. I can't believe the shit that's going down. Really, it's a round them up. Supposedly there be a test next year that will be able to tell the difference from the flu and pen. Okay, we'll see. That's interesting. I finally watched Jesus and the Black Messiah. The Billy O'Neill dude was a weasel. Yeah. Willie O'Keefe. I think his name was Willie O'Keefe. Lung problems. Yeah. People do anything to back consuming. Yeah, that's a good point. That's why I say, it's easy to see an agent because the agent is always crying the most. If something, the one that wants to, go jump on everybody, that's kind of agent work. If you really you got to read, there's a book and the book is cheap, but it's called The Assassination of Fred Hampton. It's somewhere around here. I got a copy, but I got a hardback copy too, but it's really cheap. But it breaks down, it breaks down Willie O'Keefe. And, like I've said before, Willie O'Keefe got hit on the Dan Ryan. They say he was trying to cross the street. Like you can see an interview on Willie O'Keefe, and within a week of that interview, he's trying to cross the Dan Ryan. You don't cross that. Some parts of the Dan Ryan or the Kennedy or the Eisenhower in Chicago, some parts of that is 8 lanes, 4 lanes on each side. So there's never a perfect time to cross. That is someplace people just don't cross unless your car breaks down. But they say he was trying to cross it. So, they got him. They want consume. All they want to go back to, except I'll never get it. Rather die a man than live a bot. Human body is resilient. Yeah. Saying the main 2 jabs are inflaming the heart. So why? Especially for young people. That's the scary thing about young people. Supposed to be doing that for young people. I wrote the government 3 blank checks, up to including my life, and they didn't cash them, so they ain't getting the 4th. Ha! There you go. So soothing for the throat. It's natural tobacco. Caesar, knowledge is power. The bull of God, cerebellum. It is. I want to bring this up. Because of the Floyd stuff, let me get everything in here. Because of the Floyd stuff, this is going to be the first city to really get rid of the police. And so the city council voted to get rid of them pretty much, or put it on the ballot. It's going to be on the ballot to get rid of the police in Minneapolis. Again, I live in Prior Lake. I live about 25 minutes from proper Minneapolis. Probably from the borderline, I probably live about 20 minutes. So I don't really live in Minneapolis proper. I live in the Twin Cities, which is all this is called, the Twin Cities, which has something like 13 counties in it. And so, so the city council overrode the mayor's veto. People will vote if they still want the police as they are. There will be no police chief, no deputy chief, none of that. Public safety department, and the mayor would not. Right now, the mayor is over the police department. In New York, I think they're calling it what is the Magnum PI? What was that position? The commissioner. So the mayor is going to no longer be the commissioner over all this. And so it would be basically a public safety department. Mental health workers would go to domestic disputes. People that are trained psychologists, trained therapists, trained in dealing with domestic disputes. Health people would go in for mental problems. And as I've said before, there's a lot of violence going on in Minneapolis, which we already know who does this violence. Because these people, this police department, are so desperate that they've been doing this violence, and I've said before, time and time again, the ones that was the loudest against Floyd was the 15 to 20-year-olds. They were the organic people that rushed the streets up in here, that outnumbered the cops, that burned. Well, they didn't burn it down, but they put their asses up out of a precinct. They put their asses up out of there. They was bombing their cars and shit, throwing rocks, throwing Molotov cocktails to the cops' cars, made them get the fuck up out that building. Matter of fact, they're not going back to that building, which means they're not going to have these fast police. Like the police stopped going around the Floyd area. I've said this for months. They stopped patrolling over there. I've told the story of 2 people. One girl got raped, and she was taken to the hospital, get a rape kit. They dropped her off about 8 blocks from her home. Another woman was domestically assaulted. They dropped her off about 10 blocks. So they don't go over in that area anymore. They stay away from that area. They do not police in that area. So, as I said before, the police got fired from doing, like, the police for years, they were the bouncers downtown. Like they said, that Floyd and that officer Chauvin both did security for the same building. Chauvin was outside checking IDs. Floyd was inside. Big Floyd was inside doing security inside. So they did know each other. So it wasn't like that man, he didn't know that man. That makes it seem not organic, because they did know each other. They did a run through of the Floyd arrest the year before, back in 19. And he's like, again, it's funny. My son was drunk one night. We were talking, and he was like, I was like, Floyd was saying, "Oh, my mama, man. Now think about it like this: anybody knows any kind of trap or trap hustling street stuff? Supposedly, if a brother says "on my mama," because so many brothers was raised just with a mama. So as my drunk son was saying, if I say something and say it's on my mom, that is my greatest word. And so you hear Floyd saying, "Oh my mama, man." Well, that may, like, if you go get some crack or you go get some crystal meth on credit, that might work with your drug dealer. Oh my mama, man, if you give me this 20, give me this 30, oh my mama, man, I'll pay you back. That's supposed to be word is bond now. If you say on my mama, which I think is retarded. This human android thing gonna work, Elliot? Well, they've been working on that. The thing is to put, again, they want to put the consciousness into a, like, Netflix did a movie where, they put the little, look like the little old CDs. Remember the original CDs was little round ones, like they put your consciousness in one, and that's around. They already got them. They already got them. The Neuralink, a side of the head. There you go. Elon working on that chip side of the head. It's medical, yeah. So when will they do open hunting on gangs up there if the cops go away? There was a Batman, and the Batman showed a prison city. Gangs of New, or no. Escape from New York showed that. And did some people say that was Pam Grier? Remember Pam Grier said he offered her money to get the president back. She was like, I got a room full of that shit. That shit's worthless. But that was a prison city, and that's what it's going to turn into. It's like technically the thing that was going to kill the riots was they was going to starve them out. As I said before, one thing that was very fishy was Target stopped getting shipments. I know somebody worked at that Target. Target always gets shipments. Every day shit comes in. And they were telling me a couple of days before they quit bringing shit in, which they thought was odd. For like 2 or 3 days before the Target that got looted, they quit bringing in inventory, which if anybody's worked retail, that they never do that. So there was something up there like that. So the thing is they're going to cage that area off. And this is what they've done. Like, most black folks live across the tracks. They live across the tracks, and you can look at how many melanated people live on the north side across the country. Now in Kalamazoo, Michigan, where I grew up, the north side had almost 4 major factories. 3 was technically in walking distance of the hood. This is how they set them up. So you could catch a bus to work. It was blocks away, the big factories. And they took all their suppliers. Michigan is a supplier state, not just, suppliers is because of monopolies, supplier parts. Michigan was once and still somewhat big in supplier parts. So you'd work at one of the supplier companies. Like I was talking about AC Deco. I couldn't remember it. AC Deco was a supplier part. They made the systems for the cars. Soap. This is a robot type. Think like a human robot that can jump, run, and a height of 5'7". Thank you, show. Maybe the kingdom above the shine on this show. Thank you. Do you see Polite's mugshot looking like a reptilian? I saw him. He was an ugly brother. So, I don't know how he gets all these women. He's not a very handsome brother. Hey, homie, thanks for joining. Chips, Ponchos, and John. Oh, my mama. No cap. Oh, my mama, man. That don't mean shit to me. I'm not giving you credit. Oh, my mama, man. But that's some slick shit that, motherfucker begging for some dope would say. That guarantees you'll get paid your money back. And then when you catch him, you said on your mama, man, you're supposed to give you didn't pay me. And then they'll tell another bullshit lie and then finish with, oh, my mama, man. Or yeah, no cap. But that's just funny. But that's dope shit talk. In a way, that's dope shit talk. That's code for, my word is bond. Yeah, ugly beady-eyed dude. Yeah, PJ. He's not a very handsome man. He's not very doesn't have a lot of charisma. Now, if you can find a story about natural light and light bulbs, and that was some good shit. But the rest of the shit, I haven't listened to that brother since 14, 15, whenever he came around. I don't listen to them brothers in New York at all. Sarnetta, none of them dudes, and Pan-Africans is trying to flip over because, as I said before, a lot of the so-called Indians went after them to just do the same shit that they doing. Because what we saw is we saw a lot of Hebrew Israelites see that the indigenous was gaining power, and so they banned it. Now they indigenous, but they really Hebrew Israelites. Look at them at the power. They're going, oh, yo. That's saying no, nigga. That ain't that. That ain't that. That ain't that. They had no connection to it. I got to get Cheeto Paul on here, but there's no connection between Israelites in America. There's no connection. And the thing that kills people when they try to say that shit's in America is America gave Kemet pyramids, but they didn't give them the infinite ball game, did they? They gave them the hero twins. Asar, Set, Cain, and Abel. They corrupted that, but they didn't give them the continuous ball game or the infinite ball game. They didn't give them that. And so until you show me where that shit is in Kemet, not just the infinite ball game that you play, but the ones that you for grieving. That ain't nowhere over there. So there's no connection. There's no connection other than Mu turned into Hathor, which turned into Isis, which turned into Akate. So, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I don't listen to none of them cats. And it was just so funny, the last dude that busted out polite, because that's when he went away. I think they was in Ohio, and he was lying, talking about, see, this is the work we getting done. Then the other dude's like, he ain't got nothing to do with this. Then he disappeared. He pretty much disappeared. So to me, this is publicity to put him back out. The system wants him back out. That's all. That's what I see. The system can use him again. And so he going to probably beat this shit. And then once he beat it, he going to be back out there. Because people talking about him. He was a ghost. Ain't no future in front. Yeah, that's my homeboy. Shining him up good, going through my neighborhood. That's my guy. Shine him up good, going through my neighborhood. And he talks about a Motorola phone. I remember I had the first Motorola phone to text. You could get text on the Motorola phone. That was the first phone, was the flip Motorola that flipped down. You could get text. First it was just a regular Motorola, then it was the one that could get text. I still love Sky Pagers. I talked about that before. I love Sky Pagers. I kept a Sky Pager until they went out. I never got the two-way pages because I saw that was stupid. But the Sky Pager, I kept that even when I had a cell phone. I kept my Sky Pager because you could still get text. The motherfucker could tell you what the fuck they wanted. I like that shit. My Sky Pager, I kept that. And then when they went out of business, I kept it for 3 or 4 years, though. I thought that was, to me, that was, you was getting text. I like that shit. And then, when the phone started doing it. But I love my Sky Pager. That shit was nice. Sir Mix-a-Lot beepers. Yeah, that's breed. My cousin grew up in Flint, so I know a couple of the breeds. There was a breed a year younger than me. That graduated with my cousin. That breed was quite a bit younger. But yeah, and he was sacrificed. I think he was one that Tupac sacrificed. Remember, he did the song, I gotta get what is it? You get yours, I gotta get mine. Something like that with Tupac. I think he was because they say he died of kidney disease in his early 30s. And he went through a little bit of the shame of child support and all that kind of shit, but he died of kidney disease, they say, in his sleep. So I think he was a Tupac sacrifice because I think he died before Tupac. I could be wrong. You might have to check that, but I think he did. But you always like that line, shine him up good, going through my neighborhood. I love that part. And Flint, and this is the tragedy, and you know how they destroyed these cities that was booming middle class. As you know, Flint was a very big, beautiful city at one time. And General Motors pulled out of there, and now it's like a ghost town. And then they get attacked with the water, which they knew. They knew what they was doing when they attacked them with water. That wasn't a accident, So, remember the Gap Band had a song, "On My Beeper." There's a great way to keep her is "On My Beeper." Remember that shit? "On My Beeper." That was some funny shit. "On my beeper." I had the pager, the phone, and a Rolodex late in the 90s and 2000 pimping. There you go. Said I had my Sky Pager, I had a phone, and like I had the appointment book. I had a big old appointment book. I remember one time I left my appointment book in one of the gyms because we was meeting with the athletic director, and she was seeing when we was available, and I left it. And I mean, a book like this of all my games and shit. I didn't have them anywhere else. And somebody was cool enough where I had to drive back down there, and they met me. They met me halfway and gave me my book because without it, I'd have been fucked. I didn't know where I had to go. Hey, Barbara, thank you for joining me. How you doing? Don't you wish you was swaz? I don't know what that means. Hey, Lorenzo, what's happening? What's happening? So yeah, that was some cool stuff. But it was all for the tech guy. You know, these is the my. These ain't nothing but the my. With us all the time. You turn off. They with us all the time, so the my is right with us. Doctor X is always with us. They watching and listening. They breathe face down in the snow. He passed it after Pac died, but I thought about his death being linked. Yeah, his death is definitely linked. You said they found him dead, face down in the snow. Wow, I heard that he died at home, but wow, I never heard that he was outside. But he was definitely sacrificed, and that really, was them couple hits was all. I'm not sure how many albums, but the white girl did a remake. Oh, did she? I never heard somebody else do it. Okay, Izzy, she did a remake. I never heard somebody do a remake. Okay. I can't find it's mono. The ones you download now is all mono, so the sound isn't as great. Um, Money Machine by Young Dro. I used to have a copy that was perfect and it blasted, and now you get the copies that it's not it doesn't it's mono. It's not really uh, uh, put out good. So because I love Money Machine, the Young Dro. I love songs that the way it starts and like it'll start, but the song builds up. I love that. Brother Bomber was putting that shit out there with words. I mean, saying the rapper is the reaper. That was some bad shit he was putting out today. That was some bad shit. So Understand University or Understanding, if you want to watch that shit, that was some bad shit he was putting out. I'll give it to him. So I linked it when he hooked up with Eric Sermon too. Okay. Tatiana, nothing's never accident. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's not never accident because he has some kind of kidney disease too. And Too Short, look up the song by Too Short too. I didn't know he had hooked up with Too Short. But yeah, I mean he died in his early 30s. And I don't know how much younger he was than me, but he died in his early 30s. Sure did. Yeah. So yeah, it's a tough business. My man Jason, I should know his channel, but he's about to put a book out, and the book talks about all the people, all the rappers dying. I mean, it's mind blowing almost the amount of rappers that are dying. So who cares? But fuck, I forgot what I was going to go look up. Oh yeah, I remember now. But that when he comes up with just the information, and, I'm not really with Zach like that, but good information is good information. I can't think of what Jason's. Let's see if I can comment, but he puts it out about all the rappers and how they get killed and how these are human sacrifice. So like if you say sacrifice, make sure you put that it's human sacrifice, And then Conspiracy University, retouched about Obama signing the law that you can do what the Nazis did. You can do propaganda on your people. So what we're seeing is a lot of legal propaganda. Like they showing you hospitals from other countries full. Like I said, I went to a hospital. The other day, yesterday or Wednesday, Thursday afternoon, I was in the hospital for 6 hours. It wasn't full. Emergency room wasn't full. It was about 30 rooms in that place. I counted 8 people. 8 people was there when I was there. This emergency room that's got 30, and this is a big, huge. I mean, this is multi-hospital. I was just in the ER, but I've when my son broke his arm, one of his doctors was in this hospital. So I ain't seen nobody on ventilators and all that shit. Wasn't full. I didn't see nobody sick, really, really sick like that, where they rush into them. Shit, I told these motherfuckers I might be having a heart attack. These motherfuckers told me to have a seat. They're like, well, why are you here? I said, well, I might be having a heart attack. She's like, okay, we got your information. Go have a seat. I think they looked at it like I was standing and shit. Jonathan, yeah, that's his name, Jonathan. You guys can say a rapper dies every 44 minutes. I don't think it's that much. Look up the song by You Some Too Short featuring Eric Simmons. Okay, I will. I will. Some of them dudes said he got killed are No Name plus Whack, and he links them up. Okay, wow. Ever watched the movie Logan's Run? Yes, years ago though. Hey, Mr. Lamborghini, what's happening? Yeah, I watched Logan's Run a long time ago. I think they made a remake of it, so I couldn't really tell you what it was about. I don't really remember what it's about. But yeah, I watched it originally. Oh, that in Logan's Run, the one where Richard Pryor say ain't no melanated people in the movie. That's Logan's Run, no melanated people. Yeah, they cold up in the hospitals. Brad should have bucked them up in the face. But yeah, that's what motherfuckers told me. It's like, well, why are you here? I said, well, I think I'm having a heart attack. They're like, okay, sit down. You put the wrist on me and shit, put the arm wrist on me and shit, told me to have a seat. But I think they figured that it couldn't have been too bad. I'm standing. I wasn't like out of breath and shit. uh, but yeah, it's easy. Yeah, Logan's Run. That's what Richard Pryor say. Like they don't expect us to be here. That's how Richard Pryor put it. But yeah, that was kind of funny when she said that. Even my daughter's mother who took me, and I have to say though, we not together, but we do a lot of things together. And she was there for me because she had to drive from the city, to come get me because I was like, well, if you was home, but she's like, don't drive. I'll be there in about 25 minutes. And sure enough, she was there. She took me. She stayed with me. So, love to her. Love to her. People only live to 33. There you go. There you go. Like I said before, I told PJ this. The two athletes to watch is going to be Dennis Rodman and Larry Bird. And I think it's Larry Bird first. I mean, they are just popping up in the news too much. And sometimes the way they do this thing is when these people pop up like that, it be their time. And that's who I think is going to be human sacrifice next is Larry Bird and Dennis Rodman in that order. So, hmm. I did come up with something. So if Lucid Living wants to steal this, okay. But let me see where I wrote this shit to get it right. Um, I guess we can call it the House of Awareness instead of saying the awareness community, like just the House of Awareness. I think that's basically what I want to call it. Is just being under the House of Awareness. Like you can be under different houses in the galaxy. You can be under the different houses of the moon, but awareness house. So I think that's one thing maybe we could call it the House of the Awareness House being under or being in the House of Awareness. Um, I want to say this too. Had some when I went to bed last night. I have a lot of omen stuff around me, a lot of the Mayan stuff around me. I got a poster, another poster of him in this sitting position, and I got a poster right here in front of me. But I got the same poster in front of me in my bedroom, and I have the omen heads. I have about 4 omen heads in my bedroom, and I went to sleep and I was like, the omen haven't communicated with me in a while. And I was dreaming last night, and I remember going into what looked like a museum, and it was the Omen Museum, And then I remember later in the dream, because it's interesting how this stuff will come to you. Because a lot of times, like I've said before, the last time that the sisters from the Czar came to me, the people I call the candy people, because I don't, it's like a 3D of color kind of existent. So everything is vibrant colors. Um, but they came to me and they were giving me some information, and I must have not been taking it. And then I remember the czar came into one of me meditating, and one of the sisters just handed it to me. So sometimes they have to give it to you like that. And so when I was in the museum, I don't think I was retaining it in the dream. And so I remember I was walking, and I was walking with my ex-wife, and we looked over, and she said, "Well, what is that?" And I said, "Oh yeah, that's the Omen and Mayan Museum." And I woke up and I was like, wow, wow. So they communicated with me. They communicated with me, which was a beautiful thing. So I wanted to share that. Uh, died from fake reality. That's interesting. Just I am for not living in. Okay, you told me that. You heard Zach say, look for a former player to die around Kobe's. It could be one of them too. It could be one of them too. Yeah. Now in France, they have police guarding grocery stores, no pass, no food. Meanwhile, next week they're herding 24 children without their parents. Interesting. Damn, that is sad. And what you showed me in taking those, the person abusing their authority, taking those children, And I watched a lady abuse her authority in child court. I mean, on they worked for Friend of the Court. She was the director, and her husband was the chief of police, and he tried to leave his wife. Shit. You talk about them only being able to take 30% of your check? Shit. She found a way to hit that dude up. She was getting about 65% of his check. They only had they had two children together. Yet she was going to hit him up for about, he was making big bread back then. And you think he divorced her? They together to this day. She went after him with all her power at the front of the court. 65%. He wasn't going to be able to live. It's 1, 2, 3. It's kind of dangerous to be an MC. They shout out Tupac and Biggie, too much violence in hip hop. That's why it's, rap. It ain't hip hop, it's rap that they murder. And they murder rappers, not hip hop MCs. Yep. Hurricane is heading straight to my state. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 6 MCs. Yeah, well, thank you, Sean. So, it was funny because that was my thought. I looked at one of my heads and I'm like, y'all ain't came to me in a minute. And sure enough, they came to me. So that's promising because I pushed their information. Well, thank you. Thank you, Sean. Yeah. And because, I push their science more than anybody else. No one really talks about the infinite ball game but me. And you got all these people from South America, and they don't understand it. They really don't understand the full science behind it. So, hey, Chanel, what's happening? Thank you for joining me. Good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate you coming in. And just understanding that whole spiritual system. I just don't think people really understand and how you can be how you can use this is my point. This is part of our magic. I mean, it's not just a physical game, and that's why I show the corruption of the game. I show the fixing of the game because the game should be an organic thing. And it's like I said, for depression, loss, a loved one, you can relieve it at a ball field because that's what they're for. The energy on ball fields never goes away. And so it's a natural healing thing. The playground will do it too. If that's all you have access to is a playground, children played on it, you can go sit there and some of that grief will come off you. It's a good place to take it because the way the energies of the playing on it. I like basketball because the energies go back and forth. So it's easier. It's an easier way to relieve some of that off you, some of that stress, some of that grief. It's an easier way to relieve it off you because of the energies of the back and forth. Now, baseball can do it too, but I think basketball does it in an easier way because the way the game is so continuous. But again, it's like what kind of sadness and depression you have too, depending on what field you might want to go to. Because if you look at it from a subjective kind of thing is, If you have a kind of depression or sadness, that baseball might take it off you easier. I know it sounds, I'm not really getting my point off, but not like I want. It's not sounding like I really want it to sound. But my point is, you can try all of them to see which one would fit and take it off of you, because one of them will. Now, if just the playground will take you that stress off, and stress is another way, you know. A lot of times when I would get stressed, I would just go shoot baskets. So, welcome, brother. You had a great knowledge. Well, thank you, Sean. Good to see you, big baby. Well, thank you. Tatiana, cheaper to keep her. Yeah, the inorganic ones are trying to turn us into cyborgs. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, frequency. Everything is artificial, pretty much. Chile, they killed people in stadiums during the coup in the 70s. Remember Nicaragua? No, Niagara. It's called Niagara. The Oliver Stone movie about Niagara. That was a deep movie he did. They showed where they killed and raped them nuns, and then they buried them. And Niagara, James Wood, I think, is in it. But Oliver Stone, I think it's called Niagara. It's not Nicaragua. I think it's Niagara. It's called. But that shows all the violence. But again, it's all CIA backed. The CIA is kept down in them countries. Look at the coups they did in the 50s and the 60s. They have kept them in turmoil. They have kept those countries poor. I mean, those countries have beautiful resources down there. They live almost in a tropical paradise. But the way the CIA lets the lawlessness go down there is on purpose. It's purposeful. Like they were showing the cartels with machine guns, some RPGs. What did Slow Joe say? What did he say? Unless you got nuclear bombs and jets, you're not gonna really fight this U.S. Army. So the cartel can, they have small arms. I don't see the cartel having jets. They can always send Sylvester Stallone back to Afghanistan. There you go. It's sit out and feed the squirrels every morning at 6 a.m. just to start my day off. We need to spend more time in nature. Yeah, and that's why I told the story where they let the Canadian geese go. About it was roughly about 15 or 16, maybe it was 20. But I sat there for about 4 or 5 minutes, and I love the humanity that everybody does. And it's funny. I was walking in the outlet and I had my earbuds in. I didn't see this woman, and I think she talked shit to me. I think this woman said, "You didn't hold the door open." Again, when you got the Apple Buds in, you really can't hear shit. And I heard something, and I kind of looked back where she gave me a dirty look because I didn't hold the door open for her. And again, I was listening to music. I keep a buzz, so I wasn't paying attention to her. But she gave me. So I'm sorry. I'll put that out there. I'm sorry I didn't open the door for you. It was just I didn't see you. I didn't see you. But yeah, that's a beautiful thing with nature. And that's why I leave my window open, because I want this sun that comes up to wake me up and shine when it comes up. I love that. So I keep my window up purposely for the sun, because when I turn, that sun just beams in me. I love that kind of thing. Oh, and then, again, right now here, 8 o'clock. Sunset is 8 o'clock. Now it don't get dark till about 8:30, quarter 9, but 8 o'clock, we getting into the long dark. We get the winter solstice. Matter of fact, we've just had the equinox. 21st is the equinox. So right now is the equinox. The summer equinox is today. Yep. Bro, I've been going to playgrounds for swings, but even the energy there is awesome, and creating more of that energy field and an awesome feeling, more of a feeling for sure. Good. Biden has made America look weak and dishonorable. He's a pure disgrace. His supporters have. Well, they do. They do. They voted for this communism. So how do the people in New York feel that, and the beautiful thing is you ain't got to go into stores anymore. You ain't got to. You know that you can get everything delivered. What, they gonna stop delivering shit? But like Jeffrey Lane was showing, that movie Black Box, where they deliver everything to you, and every morning you gotta test to see if you have it, and if you have it, they come in Fahrenheit 451. Did y'all see that book? What's the name of that book, Jeff? Or name of that movie, Jeffrey? I am in the movie Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Boogeyman coming soon. Jimmy Carter president. Well, Jimmy Carter, I still think is John Kennedy. Look how long Jimmy Carter is living like a Kennedy lived. And I mean, as far as old age, because Rose Kennedy did live to be about 106. Maria Shriver's mama, Eunice, I think was her name, Eunice Kennedy Shriver. She lived to be in her hundreds. Now Jimmy Carter in his late 90s. Look at Billy Carter died, I think, in his 50s. Look up Lillian Carter. I think she died in her 60s or 70s. I could be wrong, but I still think Jimmy Carter is Kennedy. They replaced each other. And I don't think Kennedy was killed. That shit was all theater. Makes you even wonder about even King and even Malcolm X killing. Because really the message of all them killings was if you try to do good, they kill you. Yeah, they kill you. Older Caucasian dude at the car said Slow Joe was weak today. I mean, he don't answer reporters. He don't want that heat. Sister Girl definitely don't want that heat because they talked so much shit about Sister Girl that finally she showed up next to him, and she was supposed to be in Asia. Now, how did she get back so quick from Asia? That's like a 20-some-hour plane ride. James Wood also had a very high IQ side. He wasn't Kennedy, is a vegetable. Oh, now you must be my age because they was putting they was putting that that's what that came right from the National Explorer. The National Explorer used to always have articles saying that Kennedy was alive in the vegetable. I think the whole thing was a sham. If you know, I and I say this out of full scholarship. Wiseman that lived in Ohio. When Posner wrote that book, Case Closed, he got that from Wiseman that lived in Ohio. Harold Wiseman was his name. I went to that dude's house. I had over 30 books, but I went to Wiseman and I got all his information. And Posner uh, copied a bunch of his information as well. And it just, you look at that shit, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why would you let the press interview a suspect? Why would you parade it? Why would you hold the rifle up in front of everybody? And if you study, you look at Mark Lane's book, two rifles was found. The corn liquor, the Conconnier corn liquor, or however you say, the Italian rifle, but a German Mauser rifle was found too. Two rifles was found. It was brothers that was sitting eating chicken in the windows, and the shots supposed to come from above them, and they say the shots came from somewhere else. The dudes locked up in the jail was looking at a spotter. That's where the dude who wrote the JFK movie. I just said his name, but he that's where he gets the spotters from them prisoners saying it was a spotter up there. So it's all psyop. It was a psyop to scare America, you know. The administration is pathetic. Yeah, it's very fortunate that the Taliban had our weapons and vehicles. It's fortunate how the Taliban has a Twitter. Yeah, and they took Trump off but kept him. Hey, when is voodoo real and can you put it on somebody? Well, voodoo is real. It's practiced. It was practiced in America. It was practiced in Africa. Yeah, it's real. Uh, but it's how do I want to say this? It's people that fake it, and it's people that can really do it. And the people that really do it, you don't hear them talking about it that much. And so, yeah, of course it's real. Of course it's real. Really, if you get into, I've said this before, if you get into Haiti and you read about the Haiti Revolution, you can find papers. What is his name? Toussaint takes them all up in the hills, and they all go through some voodoo ritual kind of things, some voodoo ritual kind of things. But you can read some stories of French officers talking about they getting chopped and stabbed, and there ain't no people there. So you can look that up, look it up. But you can find those writings where these French, when they went off the island, they didn't go back. And then the French and the British, let me get my dates right, but they surrounded the city and started bombing them with cannons. And that's why they had to pay them all their resources. And that's why what you're seeing done today, because they was the first melanated country. I mean, across the hill is Dominican Republic. So how is one side so poor and one side so rich? And it's really the same country. It's the same island. So it's just the melanated people kicked the Europeans up out of there. So Songbird, there you go. Yep, it's Songbird. Yep, that's the movie where they test everything with UV light. People always in lockdown. Yeah, Songbird. It's all to keep our minds of advancing to discover the real powers in humans. Perfectly said. The truth is crazy. Most wouldn't believe it anyway. Just like the grinding up missing children. I had the McDonald's meat. It wasn't meat. I'll say that. I would say I would say 1980, 81, their meat didn't taste the same. Up until then, their meat tastes like now if you go to like say Red Robin's or you go to a higher class restaurant, you notice the hamburger tastes like what you make, probably even better. But yeah, about 1980, 81, McDonald's meat stop tasting good. And the one thing that I always enjoyed was their ham breakfast sandwiches, and that's the sauce they put on it. Or not ham, but the steak sandwiches they used to make. And McDonald's was slow to learn that their breakfasts was their best thing. That's why they served breakfast all the time because that was their best thing they served. Because a lot of people wouldn't eat the rest of their food, but they would eat their breakfast. So yeah, I watched that, Jeffrey. Yep, they showed the devil worshippers. They showed and that's called a subliminal message. That's a subliminal message. Yep. Did you feed the picture with the last name Toussaint pitched an out of the night, and they talked about the Haitian Revolution? Same breath. There you go. That's how they throw it out there. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Jeffrey. Yeah. What did they say in the end of the movie? Solid Green is people. It's people. Remember on the train movie, the TBS, but the original movie, Snowpiercer. No, yeah, Snowpiercer. They was eating cockroaches. Remember that? They was eating. That's how they was making the jail bars, feeding the people cockroaches. And everybody out front, they got animals, they got vegetables. The people in the back just get a damn bar every night. Just a damn bar. Eating people for breakfast. I don't think the pancakes was people. I don't think the pancakes was people. Oh my goodness. Ah. Oh, hockey puck sausage sounds good. There you go. That hockey puck sausage. There you go. The hockey puck sausage. There we go. That's why the Book of Enoch is removed because it shows Noah was an albino, which is how extraterrestrials were able to splice his dude to create the European. Wow. Yeah, I saw 84. I read the book too. I read the book too. I read his new book. I think it was called 1985, and he was the one that predicted that the smokestack society would fold, and he was right on that. The white man has no history before 6,000 years ago. That's a good point. It's like it makes you wonder where they come from. That goes into one thing Elijah Muhammad said with the Yaqub story. Splicing. China was the first to do that. China was dark melanated people, and China was the first one to get lighter with lighter. So they went and they forced the people. If a lighter person was born, they would go find another lighter person. And like now, you look at China, Tahiti. I'm friends with a sister, and she always shows melanated people around the world, and she shows what the Tahiti people used to look like compared to what the Tahiti people look like now. It's crazy. Tesla robot, yeah, one step for more. Yeah, we was talking about that earlier before you came. Snowpiercer shows how it's about class and not race. Good point. Uh, I just read the Book of Enoch, who's also Hermes, and thought that the Trice born. Um, yeah, Gnosticism gets into a little bit of that. The Book of Enoch might be in this book. I don't remember, but the Book of Seth too is deep. You guys, like this is the Gnostic Bible, and the Book of Seth is real deep. Yeah, the three stellies of Seth. Yeah, the Sermon of Zostras. Let me see. The Gospel of Mary. Pomadres is really deep. Let me see. But it talks about the story and the death of Mani, the Coptic Manchurians, the great song of Mani, the mother of books. So, 447. Let me see. I heard a voice saying to me, Shem, since you are from an unmixed power, you are the first being upon the earth. Hear and understand what I should say to you concerning the great powers who was existence before I appeared. There was light and darkness. There was spirit between them. Since your root fell into forgetfulness, which was unconceived spirit, I revealed to you the truth and the power. The light was thought full of attentiveness and reason. They were united in one form, and the darkness was wind and waters. He possessed the mind wrapped in chaotic fire, and the spirit between them was gentle, humble light. They are the three roots. They resigned in themselves alone. They covered each with its power. And this really woke me up. I'll say this: Jimi Hendrix music woke me up more than anything. There's something about Jimi Hendrix music, and again, woke means freaking Republican now. But let me see. I am in you, and you are in me. The perfect majesty is a restful, is infallible light, the truth of the mother. All of you to attain me. Me alone, who is perfect because of the word. For I exist with all the greatness of the spirit, which is a friend to us, and kindred alike. Since I brought forth a word to the glory of our Father through his goodness, as well as imperishable thought that is the word within him. It is slavery we should die with Christ, which imperishable and undefined thought. This is incomprehensible marvel as writing as the infallible waters, which is where uh, this is a little bit of the Gospel of Mary. Will matter be destroyed or not? The Savior said, all natures, all form of things, all creatures exist in one another and be resolved into their own root. The nature of matter is resolved to its natural home. Who has ears should hear. Peter said, since you have explained everything to us, also tell us what is sin in this world. The Savior said, there is no sin. You create sin when you mingle in adultery, which is called sin. That's why the good come to be with you, to enter the essence of nature and to restore it to its roots. He continued, that's why you become sick and die, for you love what deceives you. You love what deceives you. Whoever understands should understand. Matter gave birth to passion that has nothing like it and came from what is contrary to nature. There arises disturbance in the whole body. That is why I said to you, be good courage. And if you are discouraged, take courage in the diverse forms of nature. Whoever has ears to hear will hear. And so this is the Gnostic Bible. And this book ain't for everybody, but this is a bad book. Again, the Tsar movement, yeah. This is the way to move. This is the way to move through space-time. That shit seems to open up everything. Have you ever read? No, I haven't. I've read some of them. I've read some of the Emerald Tablets, not a lot. They're saying they're arresting people, keeping them until they take whoever you get arrested for, stay longer until you take it. American Gods and Justice League Snyder Cut. Lilith was the first documented vampire and looked up where the word thug really comes from. They were the worshippers of Kali. Remember though, what's the movie where they show Interview with the Vampire shows that it was Judas. They showed Judas being the first vampire. If you remember that, they showed Judas being the first vampire. Will do if you haven't read. And Lilith is also, remember, Lilith is tied to the Rumpelstiltskin because Lilith was asked to bow down into God's creation. And Lilith was like, shit, bow down to this motherfucker? I'm not bowing down to him. And so she did the Rumpelstiltskin because she knew the name of God and she said his name and it was removed. Now, you get some later texts of Lilith and they say Lilith birthed the first demons, so. But the first writing you see of Lilith being born before Eve, she goes back with God. And that's the end of the story. They added that other shit later. What did he say? They were the time travelers. Get up and look a full report of the alien Ari after Roswell crash. Okay. Have you seen the intros trailer? Yeah, I have. The Wingmakers. No, I haven't saw that. Lasat. Yeah, Lasat. People still think vampires are real. God even sent three angels to try and convince her to obey Adam. There you go. Lasat, I don't know, Ryan. I've there's a lot out there. There's a lot out there. I'll say that. And there are. I mean, they show you that they have a bloodlust. I mean, they don't bite them on the neck, but human sacrifices for blood too. So when you see these parties where they have the people laying on the tables eating the fruit off them, in some of these parties they eat off the people like that, open them up, and people come eat off them like that. I mean, that's it's human sacrifice. That's why I'm reading this book about the Aztecs, and it's written by Europeans. It ain't written by Aztecs, and they show the bloodlust that happened. And what happened is again, Inquisition was still going on when the Spanish first came to America. When the Pilgrims came in, Pilgrims was still, even though the Pilgrims was not Catholic, the Pilgrims still practiced Inquisition, and they were not Catholics. Yeah, well, it's a lot of different ways. Like there's energy vampires. There's energy vampires that ain't biting you on the neck, but they want to be around you to suck your energy. I mean, you ever went with a person and every time you was around them, even if you had sex with them, you felt drained? Or that weird friend that you just talk to them, or the person you try to stay away from work that just comes by you, and every time you talk to them, you feel a little weak. You got energy vampires too. So a lot of things to consider. Yeah, right. The adrenochrome, exactly. Werewolves. See, werewolves is a corruption. It's a corruption of the were baby that goes back to the omen. That's a type of corruption of it because the omen. What is the movie, Jeffrey? The movie starts cats. I think it's no. It's but it shows the omen and the omen transferring to the jaguar, the panther. That's a corruption of that. But also, you get stories in Russia and you get stories in Germany about it, a type of wolf man. If you get into Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh is with a type of beast man. And once this beast man is when the gods create this beast man that with Gilgamesh, he's around fucking on the animals. They told Gilgamesh there was something different down there that was fucking on the animals. And this being they created was so animalistic, he's fucking all the animals. And then Gilgamesh, he fights Gilgamesh, and he's Gilgamesh's match. And then Gilgamesh just hangs with him. So look up Gallus Callie. Her followers killed millions by strangulation so they wouldn't waste a drop of blood to serve her. There you go. Cat people, yeah, it was cat people. They show that transformation, and that was a corruption of what the omen did, because the transformation had nothing to do with killing people. I'll say, my greatest ship shaping experience was being one of these. That was better than being an eagle to me. I mean, it really to literally be able to smell everything within 100 miles of you is some shit. That is a hell of a like an eagle. I dug the part of the eyes. Again, I've flown so much in other kind of experiences where flying don't really impress me that much. Where being a panther was a motherfucker. That was the coolest thing, to be able to see in the dark, but be able to. I mean, it was like soon as something that was another predator came into your 100 miles, just like you could smell that shit and you go right to their ass, and because they smell you, they know you around there because you pissed. They know you around there, and that to me just I love that, being able to just kill a deer and then take this big ass deer in your mouth and then run it back to your cave. To bite that motherfucker and put your head up and run back with that big ass deer to the cave, and then you go in the cave and your children are in there and all the female panthers are in there. That was some cool shit. That was some cool shit. Oh, I like flying backwards in dreams. That's the coolest shit. Like when you fly, and I don't know, I just like turning around and doing the backstroke flying. Because if I find myself flying in a dream, I turn around and I'll fly backwards. I love that shit. That's some fun shit. Here, real life vampires are sad on New Orleans, and yes, the real Lost Boys. Every creature in the film exists. I don't believe this. Jeffrey says he knows it. Uh, well, guys, my back is really starting to hurt. My shoulder hurting sitting in this chair, so I'm gonna cut it a little early. I usually Yeah, I know they killed me. They killed my sound. Is it back up? Am I back up yet? No, am I up yet? Yes, no, yes, no. I reset it. Shows I'm back up. So somebody let me know. I was about to stop anyway. So okay, okay. Well, I was gonna stop anyway. And as I stop, I always give you time walking. I give you this time walking energy. Mora, and Mora is kind of what the time walkers said to each other, and because they were civilization builders. So it all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland. They knew that they had an exact number of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But the civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles in the Great Serpent. And the Great Serpent is the Milky Way. They actually knew how to move through the Milky Way as the time walkers. And as the Mayan would say in closing, I'll say, I am another yourself. Well, thank you, everyone, for coming, hearing an old man rant. And until we meet again.